Welcome back to my DIY Enlightenment Series, where I, Lumi, your friendly neighborhood metaphysical savant, a late diagnosed autistic and ADHD afflicted neurodivergent individual, shares with you how I took my life from a literal train wreck, like just so much clusterfuckery. I was a hardcore alcoholic and drug addict for decades, severe mental health issues, BPD, manic depression, which is really all just undiagnosed autism and ADHD, FYI. But anyhow, I'm sharing with you how I went from a literal train wreck, my life being a complete disaster and me being so unhappy, to being a relatively balanced and happy individual based on my special interest in metaphysics and human behavior and the breadcrumb trail that I've been on by learning these things and actually implementing them in my life. So this is part 2. I'm replying to a comment on my last video where I talk about specifically the very first step I took was to get sober from alcohol, and a lot of hard drugs was a big thing for me, but I didn't discriminate when it came to the substances. I literally did any and everything, although one thing I'm glad I didn't get really heavily into was opiates, because I'm not sure that I would be alive. But as with everything, individual discernment is key, and some things can be good at times and bad at other times, and there's no black and white when it comes to literally anything, except honestly alcohol. Really, I don't see it ever having a good impact on your spirituality or your connection to divinity. Not to say that you can't drink sometimes, because we are in these human bodies to have experiences, and it's up to you to decide what kind of experiences you have, but alcohol will lead you towards contraction and disembodiment. So if that is what you're looking for, go ahead and drink alcohol. But cannabis is a different story, okay? It is of the earth. It is a very feminine, expansive, creative energies, and there is a lot more positive impact when it comes to cannabis, but it can also be a detriment too, right? Everything has a pro and a con. So cannabis in particular, it depends on where you're at and how frequently you're using it. So if you're able to be a casual user and not depending on it as a crutch every single day, then have at her. Somebody like me struggles with that, okay? Like, I do get into habitual, it's probably the autism, like needing it every day. And so it is something that I have had a more difficult relationship with when it comes to not using regularly. And this is also because it does have a lot of really beneficial elements to it, especially as an autistic individual, because it just calms the body down when I'm overstimulated and kind of takes the edge off of life. I actually had a download a couple years ago where my higher self was like, you need to raw dog life. Like, weed is creating too much of a buffer for you and it's too comfortable, because sometimes we need to feel the discomfort, okay? And this is where cannabis can be a detriment, because it can help you if you're in a really low bad spot. Like, it can help bring you up, but once you get up to that level or beyond it, it actually brings you down and keeps you stuck, because there's no doing energy with cannabis. It's all open, expansive receiving, which we need a lot of, but like, there is still time where we need to do things. So like, in periods where I need to be productive, cannabis ain't it. The other downside to cannabis, aside from making you completely comfortable and able to withstand things that otherwise you would be motivated to take action on changing, is that there is a connection to overeating, especially overeating sugar or preservatives or processed foods, which sugar is probably the hardest thing that for me to get off of out of everything that I've been addicted to, because your body craves it and it's so readily available in the environment. Based on my experience, if thinking of all the substances that I've abused, alcohol and sugar, some stimulants as well, are the substances that detach you the most from your divinity, because they create a baseline of like anxiety or sympathetic nervous system response in your body. And when your sympathetic nervous system is engaged, which is your fight or flight, your brain is on, right? And when your brain is on, you're looking outside of yourself and you're looking for threats and you're doing things that keep you safe and small. You're not able to access your heart and your solar plexus when you're operating out of fight or flight. So that's what I have to say on that. If you enjoy this series and you have questions, please leave them in the comments. I will get to them. As of this point, I'm just going to basically make these videos based on either questions or the pattern, the order that I was given these breadcrumbs and how I implemented them into my life. If you want to go deeper into a particular issue that you are struggling with or that you feel stuck with, I do have a special offer called the Code Breaker Lite. It is a mini intensive mentorship container, 1 session, 1 week of voice notes, very special pricing, very limited number of these sessions at this point in time. But if that's intriguing to you, go ahead and send me a DM. Check out the link in my bio for more information, and stay tuned for the next part.